Welcome to part 2 of the Houghton Lake Public Library's series on using Windows 10. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the desktop. The desktop gets its name kind of from the word you would expect. The desktop is essentially the place where you start all your work and the place where you pile all of your work, so to speak. So similar to a desktop, the top of your desk. The desktop represents probably the top 95% of your screen here when you first open up your computer. So all this blue area on my screen would represent the desktop. The desktop, by default, is going to have some shortcut icons on here, or desktop icons. So all of these things, such as the recycle bin, Google Chrome, Microsoft Word, these are all shortcuts. Your computer likely has different icons and different shortcuts, but you have them here, and this is where you can launch your programs by double-clicking them. When you open a program, it's going to go ahead and open on top of your desktop. So similar to if you put a piece of paper down on your desktop and started writing. So let's open up Google Chrome. Now you'll see Google Chrome is opened. It's a web browser, allows us to use the internet. And you can see you can no longer see the desktop. But the desktop isn't gone. It hasn't disappeared or gone anywhere. So similar to if you threw down a piece of paper to work on your desktop, the desktop is still there. It's just underneath the piece of paper. So we can go ahead and show this if we use one of these control buttons at the top right here. So you have most applications will have 3 control buttons in the top right. The leftmost one, the line, represents the minimize button. The one in the middle with the squares is the restore down or maximize button. And the one on the right is the X or close button. So let's go ahead and close Google Chrome. And you can see once we get Google Chrome out of the way, the desktop is still here. But let's further illustrate this point by opening up more than one application. So I'm going to open up Google Chrome again. And again, Google Chrome is stacked on top of the desktop right now. I'm going to go to my Start menu here, which we'll talk about more in a future video. And let's open a different program. Let's open the calculator. And I'll go ahead and again, we have these 3 control buttons in the top right. This time I'm going to use the middle button to maximize it. So now it takes up the whole screen. So now, all we can see is the calculator button. But what happened to the desktop or to Google Chrome? Well, the answer is that they've all been stacked on top of each other. So right now, all we can see is the calculator because it's been maximized to be full screen. If I go ahead and close the calculator, you'll see now Google Chrome is still here behind it. And if I go ahead and close Google Chrome, we're once again back to the desktop. So again, the way I like to think about it is that the desktop's not going anywhere. Every time you open a program, you're stacking it on top of the desktop. And when you open another program, you're stacking it on top of that program. So this time we'll try it again, but instead of closing it, we'll use the minimize button. So I'm going to open Google Chrome by double-clicking on it. Then I'm going to go to my Start menu, and I'm going to open the calculator again. So again, all we can see is the calculator, but that doesn't mean the other programs have gone anywhere. This time, I'm going to use the minimize button. The minimize button essentially moves this out of the way. So now we can see Google Chrome because it's the next thing in the stack. If we minimize Google Chrome, which again is similar to moving an item out of the way off of your desktop, you'll see we're back to the desktop. Now if we look at the bottom of our screen here, you'll see the icon for the calculator as well as the icon for Google Chrome are still here. So these applications are still running. They're just now minimized and moved out of the way. If I click on the calculator, it'll open it back up. Similarly, if I click on Google Chrome, it'll bring it back to the front. I can illustrate this point that both of these programs are running at the same time if we use this middle mouse button, or this middle control here. The middle control will allow us to change the size of the window so it's no longer full screen. So if I click that, you'll now see Google Chrome is over here on the left, and we can actually still see the calculator over to the right a little bit here. Let's hit that button on the calculator as well. Now, you can see we have both windows open at the same time. Google Chrome is over here on the left, the calculator is over here on the right, and you can see in the background the desktop is still there, which again illustrates the point that all of these programs are being stacked on top of the desktop and on top of each other. So I'm going to close these programs, again using the X in the top right. So that covers a basic overview of the desktop and how it works. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to be notified for future content. In the next video in this series, we'll talk more about the taskbar that we used down at the bottom of the screen here. So stay tuned for that video. Thank you, and have a great day.